On a cold winter night in January 2014, during the French Cup, when Atletico Madrid striker Radamel Falcao, once worth over €100 million, collapsed in agony on the grass, the whole of Colombia seemed to hold its breath. A torn cruciate ligament. For an elite striker in his prime, whose game relied on speed and explosive power, it was almost a death sentence for his career. Even the president of Colombia issued a statement, praying for a miracle for this national hero. Without him, the 2014 World Cup in Brazil would have lost its soul. Lying on the stretcher with his hands covering his face, Falcao did not complain to God. Instead, he began a profound meditation on loss. Tonight, by the soft glow of flickering firelight, let us walk through the true story of his life. This is not merely a story of injury and recovery. It is how his soul, stripped of the fangs that made the tiger fearsome, rebuilt dignity through faith and restraint. We remember him for his roars inside the penalty area, yet his most touching side is the quiet figure who guarded hope through the darkest nights. Listen to the wind blowing from the distant Andes, steady and calm, just like the rhythm of his first trials with fate in his youth. Falcao's football roots were nurtured under the sun and dust of Santa Marta, Colombia. His name, Radamel, was inherited from his father, a former professional footballer. From birth, he carried the football dreams of two generations. In River Plate's youth academy, this long-haired teenager possessed a predatory goal-scoring instinct that intimidated grown men. Like a young tiger lurking in the grass, he was precise, lethal, and never wasteful. His move to Porto in 2009 marked the most brilliant explosion of his destiny. In that quiet Portuguese city, he turned goal-scoring into a brutal, elegant art worthy of the Tiger. 17 Europa League goals in a single season, a record still towering over all challengers. Back then, he was the ultimate striker every European giant dreamed of signing. His penalty area instinct felt almost supernatural. The ball always fell perfectly at his feet, a quiet reward from heaven for his extreme self-discipline. Yet behind such overwhelming dominance lay hidden physical exhaustion. Falcao was never indestructible by nature. He endured everything through reverence for his profession. He was always the last to leave training, repeating hundreds of headers until his forehead swelled and bruised. This almost punishing diligence granted him deep football wisdom in his 20s. He learned that in this cruel industry, only constant temperance can keep you standing amid life's uncertainty. His transfer to Monaco was meant to be the perfect balance of business and glory, yet it turned into the darkest tunnel of his life. That harsh injury on a winter night ended his World Cup dream and knocked him brutally from the throne of the world's best striker. Post-surgery rehabilitation was silent and endless. Confined inside the physiotherapy room, he repeated thousands of tiny joint movements every single day. For a man built to sprint and celebrate under tens of thousands of cheering fans, the emptiness of forced stillness nearly broke his spirit. Soon after, loan spells at Manchester United and Chelsea began, the saddest wandering chapter of his career among Europe's top clubs. Beneath the cold, rainy skies of the Premier League, the once unstoppable Tiger slowed down. He could no longer leap freely, and even simple touches turned clumsy. Media headlines turned cruel. Falcao is finished. Monaco wasted a fortune on broken metal. He sat alone on cold benches, numb and forgotten. The pain of being discarded by the whole world pushed him to re-examine his faith. He wrote in his diary, "When a tiger loses its fangs, it still carries the will of the jungle." Under immense public pressure, he gained unshakable inner peace. He never argued, never felt inferior, and simply kept refining his weakened body in the mist of early mornings. In 2016, when everyone expected Falcao to chase easy money in lesser leagues, he chose to return to Monaco, the place where his dreams had shattered. He cut his long hair short. The sharp edge in his eyes faded, replaced by deep, still calm. He became captain, guiding young talents like Mbappe and teaching them the meaning of defeat and resilience. He turned into a spiritual mentor. That season witnessed one of football's most inspiring tales of an old soldier refusing to fade. No longer reliant on raw pace, he dominated League One once more with masterful movement and lifelong experience. His delicate chip goal against Manchester City in the Champions League declared to the world, the Tiger never vanished, he simply learned a new way to hunt. Growth rising from ruin is always stronger than untouched prosperity. He led Monaco to break Paris' dominance and reach the Champions League semi-finals. At the award ceremony, he never spoke of his suffering. He simply smiled and wore his medal. In that moment, he finally reconciled completely with his broken self. He proved to the world, even if fate takes away your gifts, as long as you hold fast to your integrity, you can always reclaim what belongs to you. Today, Falcao plays for Rayo Vallecano in La Liga, a modest, quiet club. Yet every afternoon there, he remains the most respected presence in the locker room. He no longer chases the Ballon d'Or or high wages. He simply savors the soft sound of a ball rolling across green grass. After every match, he shakes hands with every staff member. The fierce Tiger, who once roared across Europe, has softened into a gentle, warm-hearted man. He devoted more time to his family and charity, supporting thousands of war-displaced children in Colombia and teaching them to survive bravely against hardship. His life is a complete circle of return. Born in poverty, shining at elite clubs, broken by severe injury, and finally returning to the pure, original love of football. He once said in an interview, "I am grateful for that injury. It taught me how to be humble and revere life as an ordinary person." Now, Falcao may sit quietly on his terrace, watching the sunset sink into the Mediterranean, holding his child in his arms, carrying a quiet inner strength only he understands. That saint-like serenity forged through suffering is the most precious metal of his career. At the end of this story, we return to that freezing French Cup night. If Falcao had never been injured, if he had played in the 2014 World Cup, would his life have been more complete? Perhaps. But he would never have gained the tragic, sacred aura that moves people across the globe. It was that devastating fall that made every comeback a miracle, a supreme tribute to unyielding professionalism. Through decades of hardship, he reminds us, in a fast-paced, perfection-obsessed world, cracks are always where the light gets in. Now, Falcao stays close to his family, enjoying the gentle night breeze of Madrid. Free from the need to prove himself to anyone. Tonight, carry with you the lessons of resilience, faith, and healing, and close your eyes gently. Let go of sudden misfortune, and stop mourning the glorious moments that can never return. On this peaceful night, may you find your own unbreakable strength amid the trials of fate. Good night.